Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It is the 10th of January, and today is going to be hopefully a big catch-up day for me. Well, I started out by working on my BRINGO board. This is for the 7th of January that I'm catching up on, and that call was number 10, and it was a whip or new start from a magazine. And my closest thing to that, and I had checked early on with Carolyn Zook when I first joined the group, we can use books and pamphlets for magazines, so that's what I'm doing. This is a book or pamphlet. It's a big, thick book, but it's Quilts for All Seasons by Paula Vaughn, and I am doing the December quilt for my friend Cheryl, you know, because of the Raggedy Ann in there. And I got a quick start on it a while back on a different call, and so I put in 130 stitches last night, and hopefully you'll be able to see them, because right now they're not surrounded by white, so it's hard to see them. But I had started with this little line over here and had come over to about right here the last time. So I started up here. I did another fold all the way down here, across here, and then I got to add in a flower. I haven't finished the flower, I still have another petal, but that's a different color, and I was already at 130 stitches, and I'm playing catch up. So I didn't want to keep going, would have loved to have kept going. Thoroughly enjoying stitching this, but now I have to work on a different, a different call. So I have my spring Quaker next. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to put 100 stitches in it at least, and see where that takes me, and then I'll come back and I'll share it with you. Okay, I caught up on the 7th of January's call in my bingo group, and that call was for spring Quaker, as I mentioned. I'll remind you of what that beautiful piece looks like. And when I last stitched it, I had just done this motif at the very top. That's what I had. So today, after 129 stitches, I did get both of the words stitched, and I got the beginning of the next motif done. And again, I would have continued stitching until I hit that entire motif if it weren't for the fact that I'm catching up on several days. So I'm gonna leave it there, as much as that pains me. I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna move on to the next one. Now the next two calls I have are the gift, small gift, and haunted mansion. So I will be pulling out one of those here in a second, and I will get started on it unless I take a break for lunch. I think I may take a break and feed my husband lunch, and then I can get back at it. But I am thrilled to death that I got a whole day's caught up so far, and depending on how much time I get to stitch between now and choir tonight, I may catch up on another day, which would be awesome. I would love to do that. And then maybe tomorrow I could do 2 days again. We shall see. But I'm hoping by the end of the weekend I'll be all caught up, so I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. All right, I'll talk to you hopefully in just a little while. Hello everyone. I have caught up on another day on my bingo game, and that call was Haunted Mansion. And I wanted to show you what I've been stitching on, but I think you can see it better if I just show you looking straight at it. It's harder to see when I'm holding it up for the camera. But I beaded almost all of my stitches today, and I got 111 of them. So I beaded all of the black in this roof, in this roof, and in this roof. And then I came across here and I beaded this half of this part of the roof and stitched in between. Same here, all the way across, and all the way down both sides here. Then I came over here and I stitched in here a little bit, and then I stitched and beaded this whole surround and across here all the way down to the bottom. That was 111 stitches. As you can see, most of it was beads. But it looks a lot fuller now, and I'm really happy with it. So I have a little bit of stitching to do in here with a little cat. I have a cat to put up here, a little back stitching up here. And when I do that, this will be complete all the way to here. So my next time I will complete everything across here, and then I can start working on the next tier of the house. So I'm very pleased with it. I think it's starting to look like something. I wasn't sure I was going to like this, but I think it's going to be just fine. Anyway, that is Haunted Mansion. Well, welcome back once again. Today is still January the 10th. It's a little after 10. And when we got home from our choir practice tonight, I pulled out my small gift because that was the last call that I was trying to make up for the 8th of January. So today I caught up 7th and 8th. Awesome. So the last call for the 8th was to stitch on a whip or new start with your country's flag colors, which for me in the US would be red, white, and blue. And I decided to do small gift because the fabric is blue, the snow is white, and there's a lot of it, and the flowers are red. So here is the pattern front to remind you of what it's going to look like. This is on black fabric, but mine is on royal blue, dark blue, which is why I said it had all the flag colors, red, white, and blue. So this is where I'm at. And so Carolyn Zook, I stitched a reindeer hind end as well. She stitched one for my birthday. So I've returned the favor. I actually did stitch the tail end and the tail of this deer that's actually behind her, and the head is over on this side. It's the mama, I think, for this little baby deer. And in addition to the end of the deer here, there's a color of blue, a pretty blue that's over the snow here that marks the end of that swath in the tree. The next color in that tree now will be this vibrant green again. And I've almost, in this case I have gotten even here. Probably one more pattern of this tree, and then I'll be ready to either stop and back stitch everything, which I said I was going to try to do before I roll it up, because there's so much back stitching at the bottom. I probably will do that before I roll it back so that I can finish the top, which will be this deer over here with some stars, and then it'll be, this side will be a tree. And I have to decide if I'm going to do the little white snowflakes all over the sky. I think I'm gonna have to, because I've been putting them in the fabric of her dress and in the reindeers. So, but I think they're just, intermittent, just thrown all throughout here. I did have another thought, and that is that her buttons don't seem to show up as well as I would like. They're stitched exactly as they're called for, but I very well may put some white beads for her buttons when I get finished. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, this required 100 stitches for my BRINGO prompt today, and I did 118 just in finishing this end of the deer and the rest of that snow covered section of the tree, which is great. So I actually am glad to have that part done, and feel like it was something that I kind of felt was missing. And now maybe I can get ahead on the deer. Who knows? But that was great. So I feel good that I got 2 days caught up today, 7 and 8. And I will mark it off here on my BRINGO board in just a second and post it in my album. And then tomorrow, I hope to catch up on day 9 and 10. So if I can do 9 and 10 tomorrow, then I'll only be 1 day behind when it comes to Friday, and maybe I could catch up on Friday's day on the day that it occurs. So anyway, I am tickled to death that I've gotten that much done today. I'm very pleased with that, and hope you've had a great day of stitching. All right, I'm going to let you get back to what you were doing. Thanks for letting me share my latest catch-up with you. Oh, let me see. For the 8th, that was the last one for the 8th. So bear with me and let me mark it off so I don't try to think I have to do it still. So the next one is for the 9th, and the 9th is stitch on your smallest stitch count or fabric count. And for me, that's Autumn in the Village. So it's 36 count, and that's what I will be stitching for that one. And then guess what? For my bingo board for the 9th, they called number 11, and it's Autumn in the Village. So that means I will be able to catch up on at least 1 day on both boards with only one set of 100 stitches. And I'm glad, because it's on the 36 count. That is awesome. And then for the 10th, for today, the call on bingo is Love Abide. And my call on BRINGO is a Whip or New Start that has the letter of your last name. And I had said I was going to stitch on Haw Run Hollow. So I think what's going to be on my stitching plate for tomorrow is going to be my Autumn in the Village, my Love Abide, and then my Haw Run Hollow. And if I can get all 3 of those in, wow, I'll be caught up. Except for tomorrow's call, of course. Anyway, great stitching tonight. I don't think I'll be back with another one because it's after 10 already. So, and I have an early morning tomorrow. So I'm going to say goodnight, and hopefully you've gotten some stitching in today as well. And tomorrow, I wish you happy stitching. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. I wanted to share with you the stitching that I finished this morning, right before lunch, actually. I pulled out my Autumn in the Village. This was called on both of my bingo games, BRINGO and Bingo. And luckily, it was on the same day. Isn't that awesome? So I could stitch it that one time and be done with it. I wound up stitching 116 stitches to run my thread out. And here's what I worked on. I had started the second house, and I just had that little archway there and the things around the edge of the building and the window. So I started over here, and I just went across every color until I hit, and there's a light row there. I'm not sure you can see it that well. And I did some dark right here. But anyway, all that together is 116 stitches. And even though I would love to keep working and finish the top of that house, and maybe even the bottom today. That's not going to happen because this is catch-up day. But let me tell you something. This one is on my acrostic in the Daily 30 group, which calls for 300 stitches. So I've got 116 of them done, and later on this month I'll have to come back and get the rest of the 300. That's how I'm looking at it. So I'm going to put it away for now. I still want to catch up to the current day. So I have 2 more whips I need to pull out for my 2 bingos for the 10th, and then I'll be caught up for until today. And those 2 are Spring at Haw Run Hollow for my BRINGO board and Love Abide for my cross stitch bingo. Before I sign off for the day, I do want to mention that some of you have already given me congrats on my 8th year anniversary on YouTube. So I thank you for that very much. It means the world to me that you guys want to see what I'm stitching and want to hear about my journey as I go through the various projects that I like to work on. And so today, as a thank you, I just wanted to do another giveaway, and it's a good, I think, eclectic gathering or collection of things I had in my stash, or that I just want to pass along that was gifted to me with the understanding that I could pass it along. So I'm going to show you these things. There are 7 of them, and we will carry on and I'll describe each one and show it to you, and I'll give you a keyword that you can use in your comment on this video, and I will give it a couple of weeks, and then I will come into this video and I will draw using the random comment generator. So the keyword is very important if you want to be included. So this is one that was actually from Hobby Lobby when they kind of got rid of all of their stuff, and I thought I might stitch it, but I'm not going to. But it's called a matted accents pattern because it has the mat already in it. It's fully kitted with the floss and the fabric, which is Ada. You can swap that out if you're not an Ada stitcher, but if you are, you've already got your full kit ready to go. And the name of the pattern is Serene Cottage. It's quite pretty. It looks like a thatched roof cottage almost. It's a very quiet and serene look, isn't it? Like a little neighborhood. So if you're interested in being selected for this one, please use the word cottage in your comment. The second one is by a designer that I had stitched my very first piece by her this year. And I love to watch her floss tubes. Her art is phenomenal. And many of you agree. Her name is Teresa Kogut. And this pattern is called Prim Hen in Basket. I know a lot of you have your own chickens and you love to stitch, you know, pieces that show your interest in that. And so this is a Teresa Kogut pattern of her Prim Hen in Basket. And if you want to be in the drawing for this one, just use the word basket. I always love a good Plum Street sampler. That's one of my favorite design outfits, Paulette Stewart is. And so this one is a great Halloween piece. I tried to get something for almost every season in here. It's called Toil and Trouble. And there you can see she is flying over the house. And it says, double, double, toil and trouble. Fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. And there is a cauldron right down here, and it's got the smoke coming up from it as it's boiling away. This one has initials in it and a year, And the year is 1605. I'm not sure what that stands for, but she may tell you in here. Yes, she says she chose to personalize this design with William Shakespeare's initials, as he is the author of this famous line from Macbeth. It is believed that he wrote the play in 1605, so that is the date that she stitched. You can certainly put your own initials and the year. You complete it right there. There's already a place for it. But anyway, if you're interested in this Paulette Stewart Plum Streak Sampler pattern, Toil and Trouble, please use the word toil, and you spell it T-O-I-L, in your comment. So this next one, I had in my stash. I thought I would stitch it as soon as I finished my autumn bell pull from Stoney Creek. But since it took me 3 years to stitch that thing, I've had some second thoughts about doing another one from Stoney Creek. I've seen this recently on a Flosstubers video as well, but this is Let It Snow Banner from Stoney Creek collection, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful, and I had really thought that I would wait just a little bit and then I would stitch this, but I have decided one bell pull this long is probably enough for me. And I have fabric that's the other half. It's a 32 count Queen Anne's lace Joblin, and it says fat half on it because it was, and I split it lengthwise to accommodate the 2 bell pulls. So this one comes with the fabric. So all you'll have to do is put your floss with it and you'll be good to go. And it does call for either anchor or DMC, whichever you prefer. If you are interested in the Let It Snow banner, I put it away too fast, didn't I? Please use the word snow in your comment. This one you have seen quite recently, but you saw them all spaced out because this is my Sew Together series from Jeanette Douglas. And I have 6 of them, but not necessarily in the order of 1 through 6. I'll show you the ones that I do in case you don't remember. These are at the framer as we speak. I stitched them in 2 groupings of 3 across and then a separate 3 across. And I'm framing them as a pair, 2 different frames with, the 3 each. So the ones that I have are number 2, pins and needles. Number 3, scissors and threads. Number 5, buttons and bows. I picked these because I felt like they were sewing, stitching related, more so to what I would use. Ribbons and trims. And that's number 6. Then number 7, letters and numbers. And number 8 is silks and wools. You can stitch them separate. You can arrange them any way you like, but these come as a set. You get all 6. And if you're interested in the Sew Together series by Jeanette Douglas, you'll want to use the word sew, S-E-W. And yes, there are some specialty stitches in here, but the diagrams are there. They're not difficult. Okay? So that whole set, if you're interested, you use the word sew, S-E-W. The next pair that I have for you are 2 Told in a Garden, and I think they're lovely. They look like a particular genre, and I know that several of you like these. I know Vaughn has stitched, I think she may have stitched both of these, but I know she has stitched a couple of these Told in a Gardens. This one is Farmer's Market. These are new patterns. They've never been opened. They've just been in my stash for a while. And This is Grandmother's House. So these two come as a pair. And if you're interested in these Told in a Garden patterns, please use the word garden, Garden, in your comment. And the last one I have for you is a full coverage, because I know so many of you love full coverage. And this is a Mystic Stitch pattern called Dreaming. And I don't know if you're going to be able to really see it well, but there is a man standing in here looking out that window. And he appears to be in a fishbowl, and the fish appear to be everywhere else. Interesting. Very interesting. But this is the full pattern. I don't believe it's ever been used that I'm aware of. This is one that was gifted to me to see if I wanted to stitch it, but they knew I wasn't really a full coverage person. So they said, if you want to use it as a giveaway, feel free to do so. So thank you for that. You know who you are. And if you are interested in this full coverage piece by Mystic Stitch Inc., please use the word dreaming in your comment. So there you go. A little bit of a giveaway. Just to say thank you. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing to my channel over the years. And I hope you'll stay with me and continue to enjoy the journey of all the things that we'll be stitching this year. I love to cross stitch, and I have allowed it to pretty much replace any other hobby I ever had. I did have a few more at one time. I toyed a little bit with them, but this one is the one that really brings me joy. And so I love it, and I hope you do too. So we'll recap. If you're interested in the Serene Cottage, use the word cottage. If you're interested in the Prim Hen in Basket by Teresa Kogut, use the word basket. If you're interested in the Toil and Trouble by Plum Street, then you'll want to use the word toil. If you want the Let It Snow banner, use the word snow. If you're interested in Jeanette Douglas's Sew Together series, the 6 that I have, use the word sew, S-E-W. If you like the 2 Told in a Garden pieces, use the word garden. And then if you want the full coverage Mystic Stitch called Dreaming, use the word dreaming. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me all these years. And if you're new, you hadn't been here the whole time, welcome. And I hope that you see things that you enjoy and that you'll keep coming back. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello again. It seems to be the pattern this week that I have to come and talk to you 3 times each day. But that's because I'm catching up on all this stitching I'm doing. Well, for the 10th of January, my BRINGO call was to stitch on a whip that has the letter of your last name or first name in the title of the whip. And so I decided to stitch on Spring at Haw Run Hollow because it has the H in it, and my last name starts with an H. So I'll remind you, this is what my Spring at Haw Run Hollow looks like, or will look like. And right now I am starting these 2 blocks this year, block 5 and 6. When I complete those, I'll be halfway finished with all of the blocks, not counting the header. So getting at least one of these done, I would say, would be exactly halfway. So there you go. We'll see how that works out. But today I needed to get 100 stitches for my BRINGO board. But also, I had a prompt in the Daily 30 group, and this was to stitch with brown thread. And you were to stitch either 200 or 300 stitches, depending on how many tokens you wanted. I chose 200 because that was already double what I needed to stitch with me trying to catch up. But because these lines are so long, it was easy to get it. And so I actually wound up getting 241 stitches. I have only one line left to stitch, one side left to stitch the next time I pick this up, and I'll have both of my borders done on the new 2 blocks. Isn't that great? So I not only hit my BRINGO catch-up today, I completed the final prompt in my Daily 30 challenge that I had been working on. So it was called Garfield Week, I think. So anyway, I did that last one. Now they'll have a new challenge out tomorrow. And it depends on whether I've caught up enough or not, if I'm going to work on it. But I am glad to be caught up with this one. I did this one first out of my 2 bingo boards because this was going to be the easier of the 2 to complete. So the next thing I need to do to catch up to be at today's stitching is Love Abide. And then that way I'll be ready to start on the 11th, the calls for the 11th. So I'm very excited though, because on BRINGO, the call for the 11th is my new Start My Red Pear, and I want to get back to it so badly that I've almost been tempted just to go ahead and stitch on it tonight and then catch up my other bingo board all tomorrow. So I may wind up doing that. I don't know. But I'm going to put Haw Run back on my clothes rack over there where I have all my roller frames hanging. And I'm going to put my bag back. This is the beautiful bag I keep Haw Run Hollow in that my friend Donna made for me when we started this together at a retreat. Gosh, it's been 2 years ago now, I guess. It's been a while. Anyway, I'm going to put it away. I'm going to get my next thing to stitch, and I hope I might even have it to share with you tonight. We'll see. Happy stitching, everybody. Good evening once again. I am back for the last time tonight, but I wanted to share with you that I did catch up at least through the 10th on my bingo game, and my number, the call for number 10, or the 10th, was number 6, and that's Love Abide, and this is what that looks like. This was gifted to me by my friend Glow, and for whatever crazy reason, I decided to do the lettering at the top 1/1. I think I just wanted to make it a much smaller piece than it looked like it was going to be. And so today I did 151 stitches, 2/1, and I got in step, and then I got the I and the N and the S from inside. When I finish that word, then all I have are the birds on the end. And we've talked about this before, how for some reason I started my first bird over here too far over. And so everything is shifted a little bit here. But I think all I'm going to need to do is leave off one of the birds. And what I'll try to do is mimic this one exactly, because I like symmetry in what I stitch. So I do think that is going to be something that I will get to test out possibly the next time I stitch on this. But anyway, I was excited about the fact that this is done, and that means that I am up to today's call on the bingo group, and that is a sampler for all seasons. So I will probably pull that out first thing in the morning and work on it, plus the 2 calls for tomorrow. Now I already know one of the calls for tomorrow is Oh Tomato, which is great because I wanted to get lots of work on that this month if I could, and I haven't been able to work on it that much. I don't know the call yet for the BRINGO, but I am completely up on BRINGO to the point where I've already done today's call. So now I'm only 1 call behind. that is even better than I expected to be by the end of today. I thought I would be still a full day behind, on 2 calls behind. So I'm tickled to death that I have caught up as much as I have, and this is where I'm at on this huge piece of fabric that I probably purchased planning on doing it as called for without doing the 1/1. But once I finish this, I will cut this apart. Once I get the side in there, I'll cut it apart and I'll have another beautiful piece of fabric to work on for another project, which would be great. I'm gonna call it a night. I hope you've had a great day of stitching. I sure have. And I'm looking forward to stitching again tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Good night. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. It is the 12th of January, and I am tickled to death to tell you that I have completed the stitching on my January 11th call for my bingo group, and my call was a sampler for all seasons. And I pulled this out to get a little more work in it. The last time I worked on it, if you recall, I stitched on grass. So today, I picked right up where I left off, and I did the white picket fence, and that was 300 stitches. So I think that's wonderful. I wanted to finish the fence for a couple of reasons. I like finishing a motif, and the second reason is a sampler for all seasons is also in my daily 30 acrostic, the monthly challenge. This stood for the letter A, for a sampler for all seasons, and I have to stitch 300 stitches in it. So when I finished the first row of stitches across the fence, let me pull that back out and show it to you. The bottom row, I just stitched all the way across, and I went down and got those little feet done. And when I counted it, I had 159 or something stitches, and I thought, oh wow, this is great. If I go back across there again, I could have 300. So I went ahead and I stitched the rest of the fence so I could get my 300 stitches in for the acrostic for the Daily 30 group. So I'm really tickled that I got that done. That is only the third letter in that acrostic that I've gotten for the month, and today is already the 12th. So that tells you how frantically I've been stitching to catch up on my called bingo and BRINGO stitching. I haven't been paying as much attention to my acrostics as I should have. I will check and make sure that I'll do that now. In fact, I'll just pull out my trusty ledger here. Yes, a sampler for all seasons was in 24 hours of cross stitch, and I had already marked it off the first time I stitched on it. So I had used it, but it's not one that, that I had been able to or needed to do again. So my next 2 calls are for today. And for one of them, the call is Oh Tomato, which thrills me because I've been wanting to get more work put in that. I'm not going to finish it this month. I'm not even finished with the first section, but I am going to keep working on it. So I'm glad that it's there for another 100 stitches. And then for BRINGO, my call for today is something in a series, which is wonderful because I'm going to pull back out my 12 Days of Christmas berries, and I'll catch up on that berry to at least the number of motifs I should have stitched by day 12. I think the last time I stitched on them, I had day 7 or 8, and so now I need to add all that many more. So that'll be some good stitching, but today is perfect for stitching. It is raining, it's pouring rain, and it's cold. So I've got a little heater right over here next to me, and I try not to overtax our heater up here that's just for the upstairs, the bonus room above the garage, because it's as old as the house. And it was 21 years old when we bought it, and we've been here 2 years. So I'm trying to help it limp along as I can. So instead of heating up this whole upstairs really warm, I knock the chill off of it, but I keep a space heater really close. And that way I stay toasty warm. Of course, I do have on 2 sweaters too, but I don't crash and burn the heater. I'm trying not to anyway. It will at some point need to be replaced, but we're trying to wait as long as we can because they're so expensive. And I'd much rather buy cross stitch. Anyway, so I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to grab one of my 2 that are called, I think I'll go ahead and get my O Tomato, because I have less to stitch on it. I only have to get 100 stitches in it. But on the other one, I'm going to have to stitch, I would like to stitch as many motifs as it would take to catch it up so that I finish it by the end of the month. And I do have something I need to tell you. I decided that on the ornament I stitched while we were in North Carolina, the coastal holiday ornament, I had not declared it a finish yet because I didn't have the white beads on it for the snowflakes. Only they don't have snow where my friend lives, ever. So I'm not putting snowflakes in that. It wouldn't have it. And so I'm not going to use them. So it is finished. I had my first finish of January while we were in North Carolina. So I will go now, and the next, today or tomorrow, I'll post it in the Facebook group, the Stitch from Stash. And I'll put it in my record keeping so that I have a record of when it's finished, and I'll pull the card out. And so I'm excited. One of my new starts is already a finish, and I love that. So I just wanted to share that with you because I got ready to bead it today. I was gonna put the beads on it so I could declare it a finish. And I got to thinking about it, and I thought, they don't have snow where she lives, ever. So I'm not gonna put it in. Okay. That's it for now. I'm going to get back to stitching. I've got a video downstairs that I'm uploading on that computer, and I'm hoping to get to post it today, which will be a couple of days early. But I had the tour of Annabella's on there, and I had all my stitching trying to catch up on all these prompts, and so I have a lot of little vignettes, and it was almost an hour, and I knew if I kept going till this weekend, it was going to be an hour and more, and I don't want to do more than an hour if I can help it. So there you go. I hope you get to watch that soon, and I'm excited because we have a good crowd that has signed up to come to our meetup tomorrow. I'm thrilled about that, and looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a great weekend. Looking forward to all the stitching I get to do and seeing my friends tomorrow. So hopefully I'll have some news to share with you from that experience as well. Happy stitching in the meantime. Hello again. Well, I'm going to stop this habit of coming to see you 3 times in one day. Today I caught up. I stitched my final call for the 12th, and it is the 12th. This final call was to stitch on something Whip or No Start that's part of a series, and so I pulled out my Erica Michaels 12 Days of Christmas Berries. I had started the first one, and I had worked on it a little bit while we were in North Carolina, and I showed you where I had gotten to there. And then today when I looked at it, I said, well, you know, I need to have at least 12 motifs stitched to be current on the project to make sure I finish it by the end of the month, because I had divided up. I knew that if I stitched a motif every day, I would finish before the end of the month. So today I went ahead and stitched 5 motifs, It was well more than 100 stitches. It turned out to be 345 stitches. Let me just show you where I got to. So I added in the number 1, this pear up here, the tree, trunk and branches, the partridge that's in the pear tree, and this little pear right there. So those were 5 motifs. I'm not counting or making any distinction between whether it's large or not. I was just counting 5 individual things to stitch because that's how I counted it when I looked at the pattern. I still have 9, I guess, little motifs if you count them individually, but I certainly have more than 9 days left in the month. So it's going well, and I may not stitch on it every single day because I don't want to get all the threads out and stitch one little motif and put everything back up. But I may stitch on it every 2 or 3 days and do 2 or 3 of them, as long as I keep enough motifs stitched that I'm going to finish it by the end of the month. I'll be happy. So now I have a quandary. I'm going to do 4 of the berries on this fabric. I've gotten the first 2 gridded off on this end, and then I'll grid off the other 2 over on this end. So here's a question. While I have this fabric already out and gridded, should I look through and get the other berries that are going to be on the green and stitch them? I'm thinking I may look at that because even if it, even if I jump around with the numbers, if I'm working on that particular background of fabric, that might be easier to do before I open up another piece of fabric and another piece of fabric. So I'm thinking about that. I'll have to look at that and let you know what I decide to do about that. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday night, and I hope you have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to mine. I hope you are. And I hope I have plenty to show you over the weekend. Happy stitching. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Today is Saturday. It is the 13th of June. I'm home from my stitching meetup for the day. We had 23 of us there today. We had such a good time. I want to show you what I made today. We had one of our members teach us a tutorial on how to make tassels, decorative tassels. So here's mine. My son had gifted me 2 skeins of this Christmas floss 2 or 3 years ago. And I've been saving them for something special. Here's the other. It's all variegated Christmas colors, or it's a whole bunch of strands of Christmas colors. I think they must be variegated because it's 1 skein. Anyway. Took it today because we made a tassel out of a skein of floss and learned how to make it. And this is my classroom tutorial. You see the cording on here to show how to tie it and everything. But what I'm going to do with it is I am going to, down the road at some point, I'm going to take my other skein of Christmas floss that's variegated, and I'm going to do one of those monochromatic Christmas ornaments, either one of the bulbs or like one of the fancy balls, or a tree, maybe from Alexander Adelaide, or one of those. But I want to do a real small one so that 1 skein of floss will stitch it. I'm going to make it into an ornament, and this will be the tassel on the bottom of the ornament. I think I would like to do a tree so I could do it in a diamond shape, or a triangle, and put that at the bottom. So I'm going to put these together in my stash. But wasn't that fun? Thank you, Sue, if you're watching. Thank you again for teaching the class. She came prepared with extra skeins of floss in case you didn't have one. And she brought all the supplies to do it with. And she went, our tables are set up 3 tables in a U shape, and then 3 more and 3 more and 3 more. There's enough for 24 seats the way they set that up. We had 23 there today. I had actually emailed the librarian, Gabrielle, and said we may need to put out a couple of more chairs to 25 or 26 because not everybody remembers to register, and I already had a pretty high number registered. And she said, no worries, we'll add you more. So we lucked out today. We had 1 empty chair. Anyway, that was what we did. In addition to stitching together, we made our tassels. Put that back in my stitching bag so I know right where it is. So I wanted to take something with me today that I had told you earlier I was going to take with me because it was something, A, I was absolutely loving to stitch, and B, I felt like I could stitch on it in a group. So I took my Rework Pears pattern with me, and I've been working on this one called Bird Pear, and I had gotten this one done from that planter bowl, whatever you want to call it, up. I had finished that whole motif, but all the rest of it, from the birds down, I had not done. So today at the stitching meetup, I did all but 1.5 lines of it. I came home and I finished it. So here's my finish. Isn't that beautiful? Now there is something different that I did. There is a pattern in this row right here. This pattern went in about 13 stitches and stopped. And there was a smaller, less intense pattern and then 13 stitches on the end. I liked that motif, that pattern across. So I just did it all the way across. All the rest of them were all the way across. And I wanted to be consistent with that. And I liked that pattern better than breaking it up and putting something a little different in the middle. I just wanted it to be consistent all the way across. So that's what I did. And I finished it off right when I got home. It took me maybe 20 minutes or so to do the last 2 lines. I did them together. Stitched the 4 and dropped down and grabbed that 1 and just went back and forth all the way across. And finished it right up. So isn't that beautiful? I love it on this fabric. Absolutely love it. Again, this is Bronze Age fabric by Be Stitch Me, and it was quite a hit at the stitching meetup today. In fact, one of the ladies there came over and was looking at everything, and I saw her reach down and she just started slipping that fabric right off. She was going to take it with her. She was teasing, of course, but she really liked it, and she commented on it. In fact, I think she wrote the name of it down and was thinking about ordering her some. But I tell you what, with this Lancaster red, that's a single strand of floss on a 32 count, over 2, and I think it's beautiful. It's delicate and just very elegant. So there are 2 more pairs in here. Now, I may have Rework Pears on my BRINGO or my BINGO or my WhipGo another time. So I'm going to leave the floss in the package, in my project bag, with the fabric. Put my pattern in here. Now remember, don't put your pattern touching the plastic because it'll melt right to it. And then I'm going to take a picture of this and post it in my finishes from Stitch from Stash before I put it in here. And then I'll keep it in here as well. And the next time it's called, I will pull out that pattern again and start the next one. And because this one's already done. And that'll help push me along on that group of 3 as well, because I didn't have any plans specifically to start more than one. But since I've already finished one and I see how much I like it and how much I've enjoyed stitching it, I wouldn't mind starting another one if it's called again. So that's my plan. Doing that with both the coastal holiday ornament, and now I'll be doing it with the red pear, Rework Pear. So it'll be great. So let me tell you a little bit more about the stitching meetup today, just a tiny bit. We had 3 new people there who had either not been there for a very, very long time or had never been there before. 2 were invited by one of our regular members, and they had been wanting to come, and her invitation was just the nudge they needed to come on, and I think they had a ball. I started teasing her and telling her she had her posse with her. Because she came in and 2 or 3 people came in, you know, a few minutes later, and they were all squealing when they saw her, and it was lovely. It was great fun. And then there was a new lady who had never been there before. She said she had wanted to come many a time, and she would always forget on the right day. And this time she made up her mind. She was coming. She was coming in the month of January. She was going to get this year off to the right start. And I think she had a really good time. And it's one of those cases, like so many of us have had, where she had been not stitching for many, many years due to taking care of family, raising family, and all that sort of thing, working. And she decided she would like to make some handmade ornaments for her Christmas tree. She used to cross stitch, and she decided she would pull out some of her really old cross stitch Christmas patterns and just make her some ornaments. And she got started on those today, her first one today. And it was great fun. It was fun to show her new fabrics and new flosses and talk about where you buy supplies. And she's just like a brand new stitcher, except she knows how to stitch. But as far as knowing where to shop and what is available out there, it's all new. It's all new to her. She'd never heard of floss tube. I'm hoping that she actually does go and look at it. I asked her to just Google it. I said, well, just go to YouTube and search for floss tube. I said, then pick if you can. 1 or 2. Because, you know, there's just so many wonderful, wonderful floss tubers out there. So it was so much fun. Hey, baby. Hey. Hey. Tommy and Coco just got home, and Coco has come running up to say hello. Hey, baby. Hey. And we're going to go and eat dinner now. But I wanted to just share with you my finish. So, thanks for letting me share that with you. I'm going to say goodbye for now. And if I get to do any more stitching this evening, I'll come and share it with you. Happy stitching, everybody. For some reason, I'm having a hard time being able to stitch today. It seems somebody is in great need of attention. Yeah, and I got to find just the right place that she wants me to scratch. Yeah. Coco, can I stitch, baby? You gonna let me stitch?
I don't have this written down for some reason. But picture this plus.
I don't think so.
I'm using all the colorful
Oh, I got away for a moment, and she had to get me back. Coco, you're adorable. You're adorable.
So, let's get winter